In this video, we're going to be learning how to make textures on spheres. You can apply the same concepts that we're doing with these spheres to any form that we've already learned how to draw. These are the examples. I have here a dragon egg, or you can call it fish scales. Scales you can do as diamonds, or you can do them as little U's. I have a sphere with craters in it, so you guys can decide if this is a moon or a cheese ball or just a ball with holes in it. This one follows our ribbon technique, and it has overlapping ribbons on it, and this one has bricks. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to draw your sphere just like you learned before. If you haven't learned this before, go back to one of the previous videos on the channel and learn how to draw a sphere. So you're going to start out with a circle. You can trace it if you don't trust yourself, or you can go back and fix it later if you don't like the way it came out. Now, I like to start out drawing light. Unfortunately, with video recording, if I draw light, you can't see it. So, and there we go. There's my circle. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. Now, we're going to say that the light source is coming from this direction. I'm going to put a little dot right there, which means that our cash out, you know what? Actually, let's change that. Put our light source there, so it can be more similar to the spheres you saw earlier. So it's coming straight down. We now are going to draw a core shadow, and the core shadow comes right here. You can start out drawing this light and then get it darker once you add the midtones, or you can just go straight for super dark. Now this side on the bottom is going to have our reflected light, so it is going to get lighter and lighter and lighter, but it's not gonna get to white. I'm going to work on my midtones that are going to come up to the highlight. We've got dark midtones, like this, and then we've got lighter midtones. So we're going to do a U, and the bigger you do these, the faster this process will go, but that is your choice. You can be as detailed as you want. I'm drawing these dark, but what you're going to want to do is the lightest parts of your sphere, you're going to want to draw your scales lightest, and the darkest parts of your sphere, you're going to want to draw your scales darker. And then we'll also shade them darker. And there you have it. You could leave it like this. I personally like to add a little more shadow to mine. So I go into all the places that have a scale overlapping and I add a little bit of shadow. And again, you want to do lighter shadows in the parts of the sphere where it is lighter, and darker shadows in the parts of the sphere that are darker. We're going to add a cast shadow to our scaled sphere. Just like this. You are going to touch the edge with the darkest shading, and you're going to go into the grooves of the scales. Just like this. And then you're going to get lighter around the edges. You're going to draw your craters. And again, you should draw these light. I'm drawing them dark so you can see them. Looks more natural if you draw them all different sizes. So I'm going to go just like that. Then what you want to do is you want to start shading the darkest part right where the light is hidden most. So in this case, it would be at the top because this outer lip is keeping this part of the hole from seeing light. So I'm going to go over this outer lip, just like this. Bring it down gradually. This is actually very similar to an eyelid, where the top of the eyelid is shadowing the eye. You want to keep up with the roundness of the hole. And right at the bottom there, you can leave it a little white. So let's make this a little bit darker. So it looks a little more like a hole. Next, we're going to do bricks. And this is very similar to the way you did scales, where you're going to be overlapping it, and then you're going to be shading in the cracks or where we have overlap. So I'm going to start like this. The more rectangular you make them, the more brick-like they will look. But I like my bricks to be a cross between stone and brick. So I'm making mine a little more rounded, but that is your choice. I prefer to add more shadows, especially where our core shadow is. So you're gonna go, this brick's gonna cast a shadow on this brick. Now all we need to do is add the cast shadow. So the same way you did the scales, you're going to get really dark inside the crevices. For our last sphere, we're going to use the techniques that we learned about ribbons to create a texture on the outside of our sphere. So as if someone glued some ribbons down to it. So we're going to draw our ribbon lines. and you want to stay within the contours of the sphere. The thicker you make these, the less you'll end up having to make, and the faster it will be. But some people think it looks cooler to do skinnier ones. So what's helpful for me, at least, if you want it to go over, under, is you take this one and you go under. So we erase over. So we erase this way. Under. So we erase this way. Over. So erase, oops, this way. Sometimes it gets a little confusing. And then, let's see this next one. Now you can choose to either leave this a blank space on the sphere, or you can make it into another ribbon.